Your brain is shrinking. Literally. Gray matter in your prefrontal cortex is disappearing, and your attention span has dropped 88% in the last 20 years. The culprit isn't aging, drugs, or disease. It's your phone. And what's happening inside your brain right now? It's not reversible. Unless you understand what's really going on. That foggy, distracted feeling you carry around, where your thoughts feel scattered and nothing holds your interest for longer than a few seconds, it has a name. And in 2024, it became so widespread that Oxford made it their word of the year.
It's called Brainrot. And here's the uncomfortable part. Neuroscience suggests it isn't just a feeling. It's measurable. It shows up on brain scans. And it's reshaping how an entire generation processes the world. But, and this is what matters, it's also reversible. And in the next few minutes, you'll understand exactly what's happening inside your head and what you can do to take it back.
Here's the thing most people don't realize. This concern isn't new. In 1854, Henry David Thoreau sat in a cabin by Walden Pond and wrote, "While England endeavors to cure the potato rot, will not any endeavor to cure the brain rot, which prevails so much more widely and fatally?" Over 170 years ago, no smartphones, no algorithms, no infinite scroll, and someone was already warning us that consuming shallow content was corroding the mind. The difference now? Scale, speed, and the fact that the average person spends nearly 7 hours a day staring at a screen. Gen Z? Over 9 hours. And the content being consumed in those hours isn't Shakespeare. It's an endless, algorithmically curated stream of 15-second clips, rage bait, and content designed to make you swipe, not think. So what's actually happening in your brain when you consume this content? Let's start with dopamine. Every time you swipe to a new video, your brain experiences what neuroscientists call a reward prediction error. You don't know what's coming next. That uncertainty, that tiny moment of anticipation, triggers a spike of dopamine. Not because the content is good, because it might be. This is the exact same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. Random reinforcement. You pull the lever, or in this case, you swipe, and sometimes you get something funny. Sometimes you get something boring. But that unpredictability is what keeps you locked in. Your brain treats every swipe like a gamble. Now here's where it gets concerning. Do this for hours a day, weeks on end, and your dopamine system starts to recalibrate. It becomes desensitized. The things that used to feel rewarding, a conversation, a sunset, a page of a book, they don't register the same way anymore. Your brain has been trained to expect constant novelty, instant payoff. And when the real world can't deliver that, everything feels flat. That's not laziness. That's neurochemistry. And dopamine is only half the story. Because it turns out, this kind of content consumption isn't just changing your brain's chemistry. It might be changing its structure. And that's where things get genuinely alarming. But first, there's one study I need to tell you about that will change the way you look at your phone forever. In 2017, researchers at the University of Texas at Austin ran a study with nearly 800 smartphone users. They wanted to test something simple. Does the mere presence of your phone affect how well you think? So they had participants take cognitive tests under 3 conditions: phone on the desk, phone in a pocket or bag, phone in another room entirely. The results? People with their phones in another room significantly outperformed everyone else. And here's the detail that makes this study unforgettable. This effect held even when the phones were turned completely off, even when the screen was face down, even when notifications were silenced. Your phone doesn't need to vibrate to distract you. Your brain is using cognitive resources just to not look at it. The researchers called this the brain drain effect. Your device is quietly siphoning your mental bandwidth simply by being nearby.
Now, zoom out further. Dr. Gloria Mark, a professor at UC Irvine, has been tracking our attention spans for over 2 decades. In 2004, the average time a person could focus on a screen before switching was 2.5 minutes. By 2012, it dropped to 75 seconds. By 2020, 47 seconds. That's a 69% decline in 16 years. And every interruption costs you. Research shows it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully regain deep focus after switching tasks. Think about how many times you checked your phone today. Now multiply each one by 23 minutes of fragmented thinking. That's not a habit. That's a cognitive tax you're paying all day, every day. And now, here's where it stops being about productivity and starts being about your actual brain tissue.
Researchers at Cincinnati Children's Hospital used MRI to scan the brains of preschool-aged children with varying levels of screen exposure. What they found was striking. Children with higher screen usage showed lower white matter integrity. White matter is the brain's communication highway. It's what connects different regions and allows them to work together. Lower integrity means those connections are weaker. Separately, neuroimaging studies have found that heavy digital multitaskers show reduced gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex, the very region of your brain responsible for willpower, planning, emotional regulation, and impulse control.
And the ABCD study, one of the largest longitudinal studies of adolescent brain development, tracking over 11,000 kids, found that adolescents with increasing social media use performed measurably worse in reading recognition, vocabulary, and memory over a 2-year period, compared to peers with minimal use. Now let me be transparent about the nuance here, because truth matters more than fear. These studies are correlational. Researchers themselves stress they cannot yet prove that screen time causes these changes. It's possible that kids with certain cognitive profiles are simply drawn to screens more. And the effect sizes, while consistent, are described as modest. But the pattern is clear. And even modest effects, compounded across years of a developing brain, that's not something to shrug at. So here's the part that changes everything. The same property of your brain that allowed these habits to reshape it, neuroplasticity, is the very thing that means you can reshape it back. Your brain isn't broken, it's adapted, and it can adapt again. So how do you actually reverse this? Strategy 1. The 2-week reset. Research published in 2024 found that limiting smartphone internet access for just 2 weeks produced measurable improvements in sustained attention, comparable to reversing approximately 10 years of age-related cognitive decline. You don't have to go off-grid forever. 2 weeks of intentional reduction can create real, detectable change. Strategy 2. Move your body. Physical exercise triggers the release of a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF promotes the growth of new neurons in the hippocampus, your brain's memory center, and strengthens synaptic connections.
This isn't metaphorical. Exercise literally grows your brain. Even moderate aerobic activity, walking, swimming, cycling, has been shown to improve memory, learning, and cognitive flexibility. Strategy 3. Read long form. A 2013 study at Emory University had participants read a novel over 9 consecutive evenings. MRI scans revealed increased connectivity in the left temporal cortex, the language center, and the central sulcus, which processes physical sensation. The researchers described this as embodied cognition. Your brain physically rehearses the experiences of the characters, and the heightened connectivity persisted for days after the reading ended. 9 days of reading. Measurable brain change. That's the opposite of Brainrot. Strategy 4. Get outside. Attention restoration theory, developed by psychologists Stephen and Rachel Kaplan, shows that natural environments replenish directed attention through what they call soft fascination. Stimuli like flowing water, birdsong, or moving clouds that engage the brain without demanding effort. Studies show that even 30 minutes of nature exposure can significantly restore cognitive focus. Strategy 5. Protect your focus like a resource. Remove your phone from the room when doing deep work. That's not willpower advice. That's what the science says. The mere presence of your device is draining your capacity. Out of sight is literally out of mind. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Brain rot isn't a character flaw. It isn't laziness. It isn't some generational weakness. It's a predictable neurological response to an environment that was deliberately engineered to capture and hold your attention, at the expense of your ability to think deeply, feel fully, and be present in your own life. And the fact that it's reversible? That's the most empowering part. Because it means the fog you've been feeling isn't permanent. Your brain hasn't forgotten how to focus. It's just been trained out of the habit. And habits, as we know, can be retrained. You weren't built for infinite scroll. You were built for depth, for sustained thought, for the kind of focus that builds things that matter. The question isn't whether your brain can recover. It's whether you'll give it the chance. If you found this useful, and especially if you felt personally called out somewhere in this video, consider subscribing. This channel is about understanding how your mind actually works so you can take back control of it. Drop a comment and tell me, what's the first thing you're going to change? I read every single one. And if someone you care about is stuck in the scroll, share this with them. Sometimes the first step out of brain rot is just knowing it's real. See you in the next video.